This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Managing our media consumption. Welcome back to another edition of Real Answers, a regular Wednesday feature during the Family Life Noon Report, where we discuss the issues that matter to families with licensed mental health counselor Christopher Anderson. Welcome back, Chris.
Thank you, Mark.
Today, we're looking at media-driven anxiety and depression in particular. And what a timely topic. As someone who's spent a long time working in media, one form or another, the changes we've seen are just astounding when you look back. I grew up with the morning newspaper was it. I even delivered that. And then came the evening news. Walter Cronkite told us that's the way it is, and that was more or less it.
And the amount of media now, this is just unbelievable. I was just sitting here thinking about our segment today, and I just remember years ago, the only 24-hour news source you had was CNN, and that was like basically your headlines, and then all of a sudden now, it's just everywhere you turn, there's a new news outlet that says that you got to listen to them because they're the ones that are going to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it's just relentless for sure. And also, it's the blurring of just what is news versus opinion. Most often these days, it seems to be a hybrid product that these organizations are putting out, and it's so easy to get wrapped up in all of it, and it overwhelms you, mind, body, and soul. You could say that breaking news is breaking us.
Yeah, it really is. You mentioned the Walter Cronkite era. That era is gone. I mean, we got to really understand something here. We've got what is called the legacy media, CBS, ABC, NBC, the big names in the media. And then we've got, of course, social media now, and that is all sorts of people want to be influencers and give their opinion and this and that. You've still got some true journalism outlets out there, but they're getting harder to find, and you have to look for them. You really have to look for them, but there's such big differences. The big media outlets now, the legacy media, these are really just opinionists now. They've really gone beyond just reporting the facts. It's now they want you to see it the way they want you to see it.
Yeah, it's almost like you take sides. My news says this, but my news says that. It is not very objective anymore, or at least it's hard to ferret it out from all the noise that's out there. How do you differentiate between what's news and what's opinion?
You really need to look at the nature of what you're hearing. Okay, and I'm glad you asked that question because, again, not all news outlets are the same. It's pretty clear without actually calling out the names of them which ones are much more guilty at spinning the news stories. Pay close attention at the nature of the reporting. If you're just hearing nothing but character defamation for one person or a group of people, you can be pretty certain that this is not necessarily going to be a truthful report. False reporting is very much rooted in this political agenda, and it's very much not doing anybody any service. And it's really just breaking apart our society. This is the real problem. It's rooted in hatred. We see these dynamics, and most people can really understand what I'm saying here in terms of where it's coming from. It's the nature of everything has changed. The nature of our society has changed, which has allowed for this to happen. If we get right down to it, we are in sadly a post-Christian era in our world, and even in America, unfortunately. We've got a foundationless, a moralist society now where people believe that they somehow have the right or the power to define for themselves a new set of morals or a new reality, regardless of what the laws say. Just look at what's happening in today's society. Look at what's happening in Minnesota and other places. We've got a certain segment that is really having an unwillingness to define what a woman is, to simply advance a political agenda and to get votes. Well, this change has also significantly impacted what used to be called journalism.
Yeah.
The same term continues to be used, even though it's not being used accurately. Folks that are branding themselves as journalists, but really just advancing their own opinions and agendas, they still want to be called journalists, and they still say they work for news outlets and of using that term lightly. But quite honestly, they're unwilling to stop at reporting the facts, or they conveniently leave out the full story, or they alter the story, or they flat out make up stories. So if you don't have a solid foundation on biblical principles and morals and an objective sense of right and wrong, which our nation was founded on, then there's no reason to expect that the folks who are putting out these news stories are going to hold to that. And that's what we're up against today.
Right. You're listening to Real Answers. I'm Mark Webster, along with licensed mental health counselor Christopher Anderson. We're talking about media-driven anxiety and depression. You touched on my next point there. I guess it's never been more important than now to take in all of that overwhelming amount of information through a scriptural filter.
Absolutely. You've got to stay grounded in God's Word and hold these news stories up to the Bible, if nothing else, to understand what might might be happening on a biblical timeline. It may take some of the element of surprise out and actually may help bolster your faith and bolster your experience of your faith and your relationship with God, seeing that, hey, this is what the Bible said, and guess what? It's happening. So that could be a good thing in and of itself. But, again, you really got to pay close attention to what is being shared to pull out the facts from the opinion. Another thing is, again, turn those notifications off on your phone. Do you really need to be 24 hours a day checking the news? Probably not. And there's a good chance that if you're that caught up into it, you're not really checking the news, you're checking the opinion.
Yeah, for people like myself, it's a job hazard, really. And I find I have to unplug because you just get so consumed with it. And I guess it's just like if you're overweight, eating less is a logical step. If you're over-consuming media and it's really taking a toll on you, I guess the same logic applies.
We are what we take in. We are what we take in. And even Jesus was like, we're commanded to take captive every thought and hold it up to the Bible and to just say, what am I really taking in here? And the quantity, again, I just can't get past that. The quantity of what we're taking in these days is just far beyond healthy. And it's also impacting, again, not only our mental health, it's impacting our relationships, it's impacting the way we take care of ourselves physically. So it really is a far-reaching problem.
Yeah, it's addictive. And really, as we've seen evidence, particularly social media news feeds are designed with algorithms that want you to just keep on watching and scrolling.
Yep, they know what you're looking for, and they're going to throw more of it in your direction, And really stay connected personally to others as well, not just social media engagement. I mean, social media is increasingly being implicated in mental health decline in all populations, not just young people, but all populations, because of it's twofold. It's feeding you too much of what you don't need, but it's also restricting your willingness to go out and engage in person. There's two angles to look at that. So and again, Mark, if you're having a hard time with this, you're experiencing depression or anxiety because of just everything you're seeing going on in the world, again, limit your amount of time, check what you're watching, and again, if you need help, don't hesitate to reach out.
Good sound advice there. You've been listening to Real Answers, a Wednesday feature of the Family Life Noon Report, where we discuss the issues important to families with licensed mental health counselor Christopher Anderson. Thanks again, as always, Chris.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.